All right, let's talk about how you can keep moving through the pain. So even if you have some pain, it doesn't mean that you should stop moving or stop exercising altogether. So there are acceptable levels of pain. So once we have an injury, pain doesn't necessarily mean that more damage is happening. I think that's an important thing to understand. Pain doesn't always equal damage. And so we can keep moving as long as the pain is stable and predictable pain. And so what we want to do is see with the different pain levels, and so we use that 0 to 10 scale. I know everybody hates that scale. I do too. But it can be helpful depending on how we define each level of pain. So let's take a look. So for me, 1 means it's there, I can feel it, but it's not really painful, it's just there. 2, on our chart here, means it's bothersome, like I notice it's kind of annoying, but it's not painful yet. It's just kind of always there, nagging in the background. 3 is kind of that level where, yeah, that actually hurts. With those levels, again, because we hurt it, it's going to hurt a little bit. Keep moving. You're going to be fine to keep moving as long as we don't increase the intensity of our movements. At this point, we want to hold steady or even back off just slightly so that our body can catch up and recover. So it's okay to keep moving. We just don't want to increase the load we're putting on our body so that our risk of injury or making it worse gets higher. But it's totally safe, it's totally okay to keep moving at this point. At the next phase is where we want to decrease activity a little bit. So in that 4, 5, 6, we want to make sure that we're really not flaring it up. So if it starts to get to a 4, it's like, this is undeniably painful. This actually does hurt. And it typically at this range starts hurting worse as we exercise. So if it starts altering our movement, that's a 5. If we start like limping because of it or things like that, that's more of a 5. If that pain becomes sharp or stabby, that's definitely getting into that 6 range. And so that's where we'd want to say, let's back off how much we're moving. It's okay to keep moving in some ways and alter our movements, kind of still take an active approach, but don't keep hammering it the same way, right? And so we want to switch that up so we're loading those tissues a little bit differently in ways that don't keep it flared up so that we stay in that kind of 1 to 3 pain range. Now, it's not really expected that you'll have 0 pain if you keep moving, but that's okay that we have a little bit as long as it stays in that 1 to 3 range. Okay, 7, 8 range, we definitely want to limit activity at that point. Not stop activity, just limit it. Only do things that we can do fairly pain-free if it's getting that bad. So 7, 8 is where we're having like that stabbing or deep throbbing pain where you're paying for the exercise or movement later, when you're really feeling that later. We want to start limiting those activities a little bit more to the things that we can do pain-free or that we don't pay for later. And then the things that are just constantly limiting, you're feeling the pain all the time, is more that 8. So that's where we want to back off again. When you really need immediate help is that 9 or 10. And that's when it's like intense, unrelenting, sharp pain. That's when go seek help right now. So Instacare, go see a physical therapist, ER, things like that when it feels that intense. So that's that 9, 10. 10 is, to me, unimaginable pain. Pain that you couldn't even fathom that pain was possible to feel this bad. That's definitely a seek help now thing. With the 7, 8 pain, you definitely want to seek help there quickly. And honestly, I would say anything above a 4, you should get help for so that you can resolve that as quickly as possible. That 1 to 3 pain, that's just part of living, and keep moving and just make sure you're not doing things that keep it flared up. Hopefully that's helpful to define that pain and where the acceptable levels of movement are. And honestly, the message is keep moving as much as you can, because as we rest that pain away, it actually makes that worse. We heal weak instead of healing strong, and when we go back to activity, we find that the pain levels come right back. So hopefully, again, helping to define each of those terms, that 0 to 10, makes that scale a little bit more understandable and usable for you to understand when is it appropriate to keep moving and when do I need help and when should I back off what I'm doing a little bit more.